I want to start this video off by saying, first of all, thank God for another day. Thank God for our health. And I want to start this video off by saying, Kyrie Irving is displaying an impeccable magnitude of courage, and he's displaying an impeccable magnitude of sacrifice. Because when it comes to exposing any type of truth to people in today's world, you have to be ready for any type of backlash and any type of repercussions that come with that. And at this point in time and in this day and age, everyone by now should know that. So it's like, to be able to have the courage to still go forth with what you believe in and what you stand for, and still and Kyrie, and it's like the media has already been on Kyrie. The media has already been on Kyrie. The NBA has already been on Kyrie. All the commentators, all the sports news anchors, they've already been on Kyrie. So for Kyrie to still go ahead and go forth with this and stand firm and speak out on his beliefs and passing on the truth to his people and informing his people of the truth, that's an impeccable sign of resilience, endurance, and strength. Because not everybody can do that, and not everybody's willing to do that. As you can see, brothers like Kaepernick is another example of modern day activism for the black community and the truths within the black community here and abroad. Okay. There's so much that the United States public school system and private school system has kept from black people about their history. So much so now that even the states like Texas and Georgia, and I think there's a couple others, that have completely taken slavery out of the history books in the schools. And slavery was just a small part of what happened in our history. Slavery is not black history. Slavery is white history. Slavery is just what happened to black people during black history. Slavery was just a point in time during black history, but slavery is white history. Slavery is what white people have done to us. So that's not our history. We're just victims of their history. They've taken slavery, a small part of black history, out of the textbooks. So they want to whitewash it and white it out and brush it under the rug and forget about it even more so than it already has been. So it's like, what does that tell you? So it's like, of course, it's going to be a big uproar and it's going to be a big backlash whenever a black man speaks up about something that is truthful and historic about his people, about his black people, Whenever a black man speaks up, that's why it's such that's why the world stops. That's why it's such a huge deal, because it's like, oh wow, really? You know, it's a surprise to everyone because no one ever knew the truth. No one ever knew. So it's like when someone finally speaks up and says something, it's a huge uproar, because no one is supposed to be saying anything, especially not a black man. You following me so far? So it's like, if you can tell what's going on right now in the media with Kanye, Kyrie, Takeoff now, who was just murdered. It's like, look at how black men are slowly trying to get like plucked away one by one, however it takes, alive or dead. And look, and it's like, look, at the end of the day, look at what these men, Kanye and Kyrie, are even saying and speaking about regarding the black community, religious beliefs or not. It's about, it's more so about facts and truths and where we come from as a people. And there's no denying that. It's like the same thing with the Egyptians. It's like it was the same debate with the Egyptians. It's like, if anything, in every movie that they put Egyptians in, they depict them as white. And it's like, where in history do you ever read about or see, hear about Egyptians being white? And there's no way that you can be white. There's no way you could have white skin in the environment like Egypt. It's just straight sun. It's desert. It's hot as you don't know what out there. And you see how white people get sunburned so easily, and to the point where they literally can't even move or sleep or take a shower. They can literally get that bad of sunburn. So it's like, there's no way someone with white skin could have survived in an environment like that. And that's just one part of it, on how and why Egyptians are not black. Are not white, as they've been perceived in movies and stories and all this. And so it goes back to the Hebrews and with the Israelites. It's like the original Jews. It's like it goes back to the same thing. It was the Israelites that were in bondage, in slavery in Egypt. We talk about the Atlantic slave trade and the European slave trade, but we never talk much about the Arab slave trade, the Arabic slave trade. There was a slave trade with the Arabs as well, that owned Africans and sold and traded African slaves. And it's like, that's all facts and that's all truth. And you can't condemn someone, cancel someone, criticize someone, or call someone racist or anti-anything for simply exposing the truth and simply exposing what's real and what's been hidden from us for so long. And not only hidden from us, lied to us about, Y'all, they've been putting the picture of a white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus in our minds and in our brains since we could walk, since we could talk, since we were able to understand who God was and who Jesus even was. We have been brainwashed and led to believe that Jesus was white with blonde hair and blue eyes. And again, if you go to the Bible, and even if you go to the part of the world that Jesus lived, walked, thrived back then, no one was of white skin. No one had white skin in these type of environments, in these type of living conditions. All right? If you ever take a trip to the Middle East, I've never been to the Middle East, but I've watched enough videos, I've read enough to know by now that a lot of the Middle East is a desert, and it's hot as, and it's just straight sun. Now, wherever in history you can find and show me where white people with blonde hair and blue eyes were living in these type of conditions and these type of environments, then we can go from there. But that has nothing to do with it's like facts and truth on someone's origins and where they and where their roots are and where their roots come from. It's like that you can't change that. It's like there's no denying that. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's nothing. It's like there's no hate. There's no hate speech in that. There's no hateful talk in that. Like, how is that a hateful thing to say? That the original man was black. How is that a hateful thing to say? That's a truth. You know what I'm saying? It's like how is that a hateful thing to say that the originals of anything or anyone were black and of color? You know, it's like that's not hate talk or anti anything or racist. You know, it's like I think people are so quick to say, like I said, they did the same thing with Malcolm X. They were quick to call him a racist. It's like you're calling someone a racist because they're exposing you and calling you out and forcing you to acknowledge what you have done and take accountability for what you have done and your people and your system and your way of things. You know, it's like you're trying to erase and take away what our ancestors had to go through and what we still have to go through as living, breathing human beings as black people today. We're still going through it. So, and it's like, and you want to criticize or call someone racist for exposing what our people had to go through at the hands of your people. That's not racism. That's not anti-anything. That's not anti-white. That's not. It's anti-violence. Okay? It's anti-brutality. All right? It's anti-inequality. That's what that is. And it's so crazy to me that, and it seems like racism, it's like the same way white people are with racism. It's almost like it's the same way people are in general with each other. You know, like when you do something to someone, it's almost like you expect them to just forget about what you did to them and move on and act like nothing happened. But we never stop and think about the extent of damage we've done, the amount of damage we've done, with the amount of harm we cause. You know? And it seems like people miss that every time. It's like we don't recognize and we don't put together. It's like you can't move on from something that you still experience every day and that you're still faced with every day. So it's like eventually you're going to want to know the truth. You're going to want to know, why is this happening? What's going on? Why am I being treated like this, talked to like this? Why can't I qualify for this? Why am I getting overlooked for this? Why am I being put in this position? It's like you're going to want to eventually know just what exactly you're experiencing in this country, in this world, as a black person. And you can't fault someone or condemn someone or cancel someone and suspend someone for simply wanting to know more, wanting to learn more about their people and what happened and where they come from and who they are. I'm telling you, black people, I'm talking to y'all. We need to get out of the United States. It's that simple. I feel like every day we're getting shown more and more why we need to leave the United States, from black on black crime and gun violence to racism to lack of information, lack of support, lack of resources, I really feel like we just need to leave. We need to make a great exodus and leave the United States. I really do. I really feel like this is our Egypt. I really feel like this is black people's Egypt. United States is black people's Egypt, modern day Egypt. Before Moses freed his people and brought them to the promised land, I really do feel like the United States is our Egypt, yo. And we need to get out of here because it's not, it's the way this is shaping up. It's like you're not going to be able to do anything or have anything unless you stay in line. And that's how it's always been for black people anyway. Since slavery, that's how it's always been. You can't live and stay alive and live a peaceful life unless you stay in line. Okay? And it seems like that's just what it's coming to. You know? And it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much status you got, you still have to stay in line because you're black. And that's the story of black people in the United States. Okay, and that's what it's been, and that's what it's always been, and that's where we come from, and that's the mindset of everyone now. That's why it's such a huge thing. Anytime a black man says anything about anything, it's a huge deal. Because a black man is not supposed to be saying anything. A black man is not supposed to be talking, speaking up, or standing for anything. A black man isn't even supposed to be standing for himself. What makes him think he can stand for a whole nation of people and race of people? And how dare him inform them and educate them on anything? It's like, how dare he say anything? You know what I'm saying? It's like in their eyes, in their minds, black men don't know anything outside of how to dribble a ball and run a ball and dunk a ball and run a ball and rap. That's all we're supposed to be good for. So whenever someone steps outside of those boundaries, outside of those lines, it's a huge deal. It's a problem. He has to go. And you've seen what happened to all of the rest of the black leaders and black men that have tried to step outside of those boundaries and step outside of those lines and push the limits for change. Kyrie, if you by chance ever see this video, hang in there, brother. The black community is behind you, no matter what people on ESPN and all that bullshit and going on. The thorough black people in this country and this world are behind you and completely support you and understand. And I wish there were a million more of you doing what you're doing. I wish there was a million more of you. Just how much things would change, how much of an impact it would have and of an influence it would have on our people and our youth, you know. So I tip my hat to you. I support you. Hang in there, bro. And things, if it's like, if I was, don't stop making your own decisions. Don't stop doing what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? And just continue to do what you're doing. And it's like, if they don't want nothing to do with you anymore, it's not like you can't use who you are to do your own thing and start your own thing. And it's not like people ain't gonna follow you, bro. Straight up. I can't wait to one day, Lord willing, have that type of platform and influence and resources and means to be able to really start our own thing for us and create a place where we are free to be who we are, know who we are, and learn who we are in peace without being condemned and canceled for it.